Let's say that you have around $40,000 Canadian and you want to buy a two-seater summer convertible sports car. Do you A, play it safe and get something like the brilliant Mazda MX-5, or do you B, take that risk and try and find a good condition used Honda S2000? Which option is better? Let's go for a drive and find out. Let's start with the familiar one first, the MX-5. For 2023, it doesn't really see any changes. There is a brand new color, some sort of sand looking color, which I'm not a fan of. I much prefer this red paint job that this car has. Engine is exactly the same, 2-liter naturally aspirated 4-cylinder, and it produces the exact same power as before, 181 horsepower and 151 pound-feet of torque. Transmission options are also the same, 6-speed manual like how I have here, or a 6-speed automatic. And fuel economy is also the same, 9 liters per 100 kilometers in a city and 7 liters per 100 kilometers on a highway. And you can actually get better than advertised fuel economy figures. Like right now, I'm averaging 6.8 liters per 100 kilometers. And finally, the thing that also remains the same is the driving dynamics. This car is light and it is a joy to drive. Even right now on a twisty road like this one, I'm not really pushing it, but I'm still enjoying the drive. Of course, I'm not going to push it because there are hidden driveways, there's people walking their dogs, and there's even police. So I really don't want to get fined and get this car impounded. The Mazda MX-5 has always been the lightweight sports car, and Mazda has kept that weight as low as possible. It's just under 1,100 kilos. Because of that low weight, you can just chuck this car into any corner and the front end will just dive to that direction. Of course, steering is really light, but it is really direct. And because I can see the front fenders, like the tops of the front fenders, from my driving position, I know exactly where the wheels are, so I can point the steering in that direction and I can always hit the apex. As for this 6-speed manual, up until earlier this year when I drove the Toyota Supra with the 6-speed manual in that one, I considered this one as the best, but now I consider the Toyota Supra manual as the best feeling manual transmission. And you can check out that video up here if you're interested. But even though this 6-speed and the MX-5 is no longer at the very top of my list, second place is really not too bad. The shifter effortlessly slides into the next gear. The clutch is light, but you can still tell where the bite point is. And whether you're on a twisty road or just stuck in rush hour traffic, it is a joy to use this shifter. A couple more things to mention about the MX-5. The Brembo brakes that are included in the Sport package, along with the Recaro seats and BBS wheels, provide a lot of braking force. They have good initial bite and the brake pedal feel is firm even after a few repeated uses. For the 2022 model year, the Mazda MX-5 received KPC, Kinetic Posture Control. This reduces body roll through corners by slightly applying a bit of braking force to the inside rear wheel. This maintains the tire's traction as the car drives through corners, allowing for quicker out-of-corner throttle applications. It's like a brake-based torque vectoring system, but not as aggressive. However, this system is tied in with the traction and stability control. So on a racetrack, if you have TC and stability turned off, KPC is also turned off. Now driving the Honda S2000, this particular car is an AP1, so one of the earlier ones. But it does have a few AP2 upgrades. So for example, it has the AP2 front bumper, and it also has the AP2 engine, which is bigger than the AP1, 2.2 liters versus 2 liters. In the AP1, the 2-liter engine produces 237 horsepower and 153 pound-feet of torque. But with the bigger 2.2-liter engine, the horsepower remains the same, but the torque is bumped up to 162 pound-feet. It's also reached sooner in the RPM range than the 2-liter engine, so you don't really need to rev it quite as much when you're just driving around town like how I am right now. And yes, before you say anything, obviously this car is modified, but I couldn't get my hands on a unmodified Honda S2000. I would have loved to compare it against the Mazda MX-5, but anyway, gotta make do with what I have. Just like the Mazda MX-5, this car has a 6-speed manual transmission. No automatic is available, and from what I'm told, the owner hasn't really done anything with this transmission except put a heavier shifter knob on top of it. Just like the Mazda MX-5, the steering is direct. It goes exactly where you turn the steering wheel. This particular car does have coilovers, so the ride is obviously a little bit stiffer. But having said that, it's not too bad. You definitely do want to avoid the bigger bumps though. And it also doesn't lean quite as much as the Mazda MX-5 around corners. It's much more flat. And from my understanding, the stock Honda S2000 was the same. It's a little bit more flat around corners. All in all, even though this car is about 200 kilos heavier than the Mazda MX-5 behind me, you really can't feel it from behind the steering wheel. Maybe if you push it to its limits, but again, I'm on public roads. I'm not going to push it to its limits, especially when there are cops around. But when you're just driving around like how I am right now, just enjoying the drive, this car is magical. In the Mazda MX-5, it is business as usual. Obviously, this car wasn't designed for somebody as tall as myself at 6'4", but technically I do fit in it. Like, my knees are not touching the dashboard. That is, unless I start braking. Then yes, I will slide into this dashboard, and probably by the end of the week, I'll have a nice big bruise on my right knee. In terms of headroom, when the top is up, my hair doesn't touch it at all, so I can't complain for that. As for the interior design, it is really straightforward. The infotainment is a touchscreen, but only when it is stationary. The rest of the time you have to use the rotary knob down here, and it is Mazda's older infotainment system, not the new one. Climate controls are very straightforward to use, and this particular car does have heated seats, these Recaro heated seats, and I can't recommend these Recaro seats enough. They are fantastic. They hold you in really nicely, and they are very comfortable for longer journeys. As for visibility, well, when the top is down, you have tons and tons of visibility. You can see all around you. But with the top up, looking over my right shoulder, I'm basically looking through the back window to check my blind zone. And on the left side, the top fabric right around here, it does hinder my blind zone. But thankfully, the Mazda MX-5 does have standard blind spot sensors. And that's about it. So now let's go check out the Honda S2000. In the Honda S2000, it is a huge difference compared to the Mazda MX-5. Everything in this cabin was designed so that it doesn't distract you from the job of actually driving the car. And it's even simpler than in the Mazda MX-5. Climate controls are just a few buttons and knobs right here on the right side of the steering wheel. Audio controls and the push button start are just right here on the left. Super simple to use. And even the radio, it has a cover over it so that it doesn't tempt you to use it while you're driving. Again, really simple, really straightforward, and it doesn't distract you from driving the car. One thing that I don't like so much is the fixed steering. It doesn't tilt, it doesn't telescope in and out. That's just how it is. So for me, it's a little bit too low, but I guess over time you do get used to it. In terms of space, in the Honda S2000, I do have a little bit more, so my knees are not touching the dashboard. But having said that, it doesn't feel like as though it's an F-150 here. It still is pretty small and tight. And as for visibility, it's exactly the same as in the Mazda MX-5. You have tons of it with the top down. With the top up, you're basically looking through the back window on the right side, and on the left side, it is a bigger blind zone. But the Honda S2000 does have these concave or convex? I always get the two mixed up. It has these little additions to the mirror because blind spot sensors weren't invented back when this car came out. In the trunks, the Honda S2000 has a bit more space than the MX-5. The trunk in the S2K is not as deep as the one in the MX-5, but it is wider. Both cars also have unique small item storage bins in the front. Neither have traditional glove boxes, but they do have a small cubby between the seats. The Mazda also has additional cubbies behind each seat, but these are a little bit more difficult to access. So what about the soft tops? Well, the Mazda MX-5 has one of the fastest operating soft tops in the world. To demonstrate that, we're gonna have a race. So you ready? 3, 2, 1, go! Pretty close, but I still won. On the move, as I mentioned earlier, this Honda S2000 has aftermarket coilovers which are stiff, but they're not too bad for city streets. It's akin to the sports setting in something like the Hyundai Elantra N. In the Mazda, this GSP, or Club as it's known in the United States, comes equipped with Bilstein dampers. These are a bit stiffer than the standard shocks, but it's only over really rough roads that the ride becomes a bit too stiff and uncomfortable. So, in both cars, you'll want to avoid the bigger potholes. When it comes to prices, the 2023 Mazda MX-5 starts at $33,900 Canadian, with this demo vehicle being equipped to the price of $42,750 Canadian. As for the Honda, at the time that I'm filming this video, you can get an early model year with about 80 to 140,000 kilometers for around $35,000 to $42,000 Canadian. Of course, these numbers will vary by your region, the mileage of the car, and other factors like the time of the year. So you'll have to do quite a lot of homework to land a good deal on a used Honda S2000. Not to mention, you're also taking the risk on reliability and how the car was used by the previous owner or owners. But from what I hear, these cars are very reliable with engines lasting well into the 300,000 kilometer range, so long as regular scheduled maintenance was followed. So what should you do? Do you play it safe and buy a brand new Mazda MX-5, or do you take that risk and try and find a clean, unmolested Honda S2000 that doesn't cost you an arm and a leg? Well, the conservative in me would err on the side of caution if I was in the market for a car like this, and I'd probably go for a brand new Mazda MX-5. Having said that, if you do find a clean and really good condition Honda S2000 that doesn't cost a lot, then definitely get it, because this is a very special car. And I also heard a rumor that Honda, for their 75th anniversary, is planning to bring a successor to the S2000, but it'll be a full EV. I think that's kind of missing the point, and it's going to make a lot of Honda S2000 fans quite angry. So, again, if you do find one, get it, hold on to it, but if not, you'll be perfectly happy with the Mazda MX-5. And I want to thank Mazda Canada for providing this car, and I want to thank the owner, Night Fury S2000, go follow him on Instagram, for letting me drive this one. And in the meantime, I'll see you in the next car or truck, or most likely it'll probably be an SUV next time. Anyway, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and see you next time.